The days in Ilorin passed with a deceptive calmness. Adesewa, now at Abimp, quickly adapted to her life as an herbalist apprentice. The villagers admired her for her kindness and diligence. Though none suspected she was royalty, Sarah remained her rock, a constant reminder of her past and the silent witness to her pain. In her heart, Adesewa carried the weight of her kingdom's fall. Each time she closed her eyes, she saw her parents' lifeless bodies, her people's despair, and the flames engulfing her home. But in the midst of her sorrow, Akintola's companionship became a light she hadn't expected. Akintola's knowledge of the forest was unparalleled. He taught Adesewa how to identify healing plants, set traps for small animals, and navigate treacherous terrains. Their days were filled with laughter and quiet conversations. And though Adesewa remained guarded, she found herself drawn to his unwavering kindness. One afternoon, as they sat by a bubbling stream, Akintola spoke of his estranged family.
My father
He began, his voice tinged with bitterness.
is a man driven by greed. He believes power is the only measure of a man's worth. I left because I couldn't be part of his tyranny.
Adesewa stiffened, her heart pounding. Could Akintola be speaking of King Adebayo, the man responsible for her family's destruction? She swallowed her fear and probed carefully.
And your mother?
She asked.
She passed away when I was young.
Akintola replied, his gaze distant.
She was the only one who saw the goodness in me, even when I doubted myself.
Adesewa's chest tightened with a mix of empathy and dread. She wanted to hate him for being connected to her enemy, but Akintola's pain mirrored her own. For now, she decided to keep her identity a secret, unsure of how he might react if he learned the truth. Meanwhile, in the ruined palace of Atarun, Chief Aladdin reveled in his newfound power as Adejola's puppet governor. But his greed knew no bounds. Dissatisfied with his position, he plotted to overthrow King Adebayo and claim the throne for himself. Unaware of Aladdin's ambitions, King Adebayo grew increasingly paranoid about Adesewa's whereabouts. The rumors of her survival haunted him, and he ordered his soldiers to scour every village for the lost princess.
She must not live.
He declared.
Her very existence threatens my rule.
Back in Ilorin, Adesewa faced a different challenge. A notorious warlord from Adejola named Adekunle had begun terrorizing the nearby villages, demanding tributes and taking young women as slaves. The villagers of Ilorin lived in constant fear, and whispers of rebellion filled the air. One evening, as Adesewa and Akintola returned from the forest, they encountered a group of villagers huddled around an injured man. He was one of Adekunle's victims, barely clinging to life. Adesewa's training as an herbalist kicked in, and she worked tirelessly to save him. As she tended to the man, Akintola watched her with admiration.
You're not like anyone I've ever met.
He said softly.
You care for people in a way that inspires hope.
Adesewa looked up, her eyes meeting his. For a moment, she considered telling him everything, who she was, why she was in hiding, and the vengeance that burned within her. But fear held her back. She could not afford to trust anyone completely, not even Akintola. Days turned into weeks, and the villagers began to see Adesewa as a beacon of hope. Her efforts to heal the sick and wounded earned their gratitude, and whispers of her bravery spread. But with hope came danger. Adejola's soldiers, following rumors of a skilled healer, began to close in on Ilorin. One fateful night, Adesewa woke to the sound of distant drums. Sarah burst into her room, her face pale with fear.
They found us.
She whispered.
We must leave now.
Adesewa's heart raced as she gathered her belongings. But before they could flee, the soldiers arrived, their torches lighting up the village. Akintola appeared at her door, his bow slung over his shoulder.
I won't let them take you,
he vowed. Together, they fought their way through the chaos, evading capture and leading a group of villagers to safety in the forest. But as dawn broke, Adesewa realized the cost of their escape. Sarah had been captured. Torn between her desire to rescue Sarah and her need to remain hidden, Adesewa turned to Akintola.
I can't lose her.
She said, her voice trembling.
You won't.
Akintola replied, gripping her hand.
We'll find her together.
In that moment, Adesewa knew she could no longer hide her truth. If she was to reclaim her kingdom and protect those she loved, she would need allies, starting with Akintola.